we had coffee and he was like, we're thinking of maybe adding drums. Like, would you want to play in the band? And at this point I was like, couldn't find a chemistry job, dropped out of Humber, was like, just got home, didn't know what I was doing with my life. So I was just like, Jackson, yes, 100%. Just tell me when.
Hello, how you doing? This one's going out a little late. I edited this one my very own self. Lucky you. You get to hear the artist's vision, which is also why we're a little behind schedule. It's been a very busy week here. Actually, when I checked the point where I lined up, the beginning of the song, the theme music, it came on. I had my little intro clip, then it came on. And then when the music got quieter, I expected to hear my own voice coming out of the speakers. Not the case. Anyhow, I've been doing a bunch of recording, working on a thing for Demo Fest, which is due today and not done. Little holiday charity, not a single for you, an EP from the Sunnyside Uppers. Lots of neat stuff there. When I talked to you 2 weeks ago, I had a whole bunch of gigs booked. They all got canceled. With the exception of the playing as a solo, like singing and guitar guy for the Wednesday night card crowd at the Quispam Lions Club. It was a good time. Did some recording this weekend for a Go-Go Disco. There will be a Christmas single coming out soon, so I tracked the drums I didn't play the drums, but I recorded them, and I'm going to be playing some keys on that. Expect that in the coming weeks. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know all this stuff. Why wouldn't you? At Learn Drums, I have like 3 Instagrams. That's the one that goes with this brand. Anyhow, you didn't come here for this, did you? Today we're talking to Clare Macdonald of the band Hillsburn. Great musician, great chat. Hillsburn have a new record in the can, which you'll hear about. They haven't released it for reasons of pandemic. They would be planning tours, but they can't. It has been a weird old year for musicians. Interesting year for this podcast. Also, this is the second last one of 2020. Got a real treat coming for you in 2 weeks' time. I'm almost out of time. Here we go. My interview with Clare Macdonald of Hillsburn. So I have the 2 recordings, right? There's like the Zoom audio, and then the QuickTime audio is better. But it's like to test to see if it works. I will like click on the QuickTime thing that I recorded on my computer, and then my computer will open it in iTunes, and then iTunes will say it can't play it. And it's like so frustrating. It's like you did this.
Yeah.
Like I didn't tell it to do that. I mean, I guess I did, but I didn't think that's what I was doing.
Yeah, technology is so helpful and so annoying at the same time.
Yeah, totally. I know the Wi-Fi in this place has been down the last couple of days. We had a just the building is so I'm at work right now. The building is so big that we've got like one central router, and then these other things what I thought were routers, but they're actually like Wi-Fi extenders. So anyway, it stopped working in this side of the building the other day, and I called I don't want to get in trouble by naming the company, but I called them in there and was like, hey, just wondering, if you can give us any tell me what to do, or if somebody can come in and fix this or whatever, because it was like you could connect to it, but it wasn't connected to the internet, and it was all lighting up. And so anyway, the guy on the phone is like, okay, let me look up what you do with this. And he's like, oh, it's an old piece of gear. He's like, okay, try unplugging it and plugging it back in. And I tried that, and he's like, okay, the next thing I have on my list is replace it. So and then he's like, so we're going to have to escalate you. We'll put you to like level 2, and then they can send a technician in, and so they'll call you back And so this was on a Thursday, and by Tuesday I still hadn't heard from them, and it was like, we need it. And so I called them, and they're like, yeah, so I guess we don't replace those, so you just have to like go and buy a new one. I mean, whatever.
Right,
it's an easy solution, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
So I don't know if my voice is really booming. I'm recording this in my workplace, the Sanctuary Theater, where you have played in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All
It's
right.
a great place. Great space.
Yeah, it is. It's. I feel pretty lucky to be able to work here. It's an old building, so it does come with its share of challenge. And it also is just the thing of like, as we run into, we're now like 25 minutes late starting this because we couldn't get the Zoom thing to work.
I know.
But it's like, this is not what I do. But as kind of a creative person, who wants to work or do things, it's like I guess whatever. We're in the age where everybody's got to figure out how to run their own Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
Exactly. You basically need it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to say where, but this just reminded me of a story. I had a friend who worked at a coffee shop, and she was like, sometimes the manager will just go and unplug the Wi-Fi if the place is too busy or like too many people are on it. They're hanging out, not buying stuff.
Yeah, like, that's a great move. Just be like, I don't know, Wi-Fi's down.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
If you bought a coffee, it might come back on.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Clare Macdonald, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So the question that I always start people off with is, are you ready? Are you ready to go there?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. How'd you start playing drums?
I started playing drums in like the school band program. So grade 6, my parents were like, you should do band. And I was like, great. And they let you pick. Drums was my top choice.
Yeah.
And I got it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because that's the worry, right? It's like you got, I don't know what it was like for you. For us, there was like a top 3.
Top 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drums, trombone, and flute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think mine were like drums, trombone, and trumpet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Trumpet is got to be the hardest instrument to play.
I just thought it seemed like cool and loud and fun or something.
Yeah.
What was it about the trombone that held appeal?
I have no idea. I don't know. I picked flute because my dad plays the flute. So like I knew I was kind of interested. Trombone, I don't know where that one came from.
I think when I think back to my own interests, I think it's like it just looks fun.
Yeah, totally. You got the slide, like you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a fun thing to be able to do. So you grew up in a musical family, would you say?
My dad is musical. My mom is musical, is just not as much as my dad so much. But yeah, my brother's an opera singer.
Oh, wow.
As well. So he went to university for music too. Yeah. So yeah, musical family.
Right. Where'd he go to school?
He went so many places. He went to Mount A, and then I don't know if he studied when he was in Montreal, but he also went to UBC.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems to be, I guess I know one opera singer, and I've like, my friend's sister is an opera singer. Where does he live now?
He lives in Toronto now.
Yeah. You pretty much have to?
I guess so, yeah.
If you want to work as an opera singer?
Yeah. He mostly teaches now these days and does like choral singing. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, where'd you grow up?
Halifax.
Oh, nice.
Born and raised. Yep.
Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yeah.
As featured in the New York Times yesterday. Did you see that?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do you agree with the description as of the like? I didn't read the whole article.
I didn't read it at all. I didn't look at it. I just thought the timing was maybe a little bit off on that one.
Why do you say that?
Well, because cases are going up again and stuff now here.
Yeah.
Are you talking about I didn't read it.
The like Nova Scotia is a COVID-free paradise.
Yeah, like a mini New Zealand or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it was for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, reading things like that because I mean, I guess I know people on both sides of the thing, but the anti-mask people, certainly in my own circle, that group seems to be getting smaller and smaller. But you know, I found like there was definitely a month or two where things were like pretty weird, and since then it's like things are still weird, but they're like more back to normal for sure. But I do find it's funny because to hear some people talk, and it seems to be like people who don't like live nearby, so I can't really. It's like your experience is whatever it is. But I know it's like I hear some people are complaining that it's like life is over, we're not allowed to do anything. And then you'll read something like that that's like, there is no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everyone's perspective is just like different, I guess. But like there's obviously a problem. I mean, like we're not in the clear here. It's just, yeah. And like for me, I mean, being a musician, it's not normal. Like there are no gigs. There are nothing. Like it's like I'm so happy for you if your life hasn't changed, your work hasn't been affected. Like great, love that for you. Not the same for everyone else. Definitely not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What would you have been doing right now if this wasn't impacting your life?
Well, we just finished recording an album. Like we were in Vancouver recording our album in March. So when all of like COVID started, we were in Vancouver. So we have an album ready, done. We have it. Yeah. We would be planning tours.
A tour, yeah.
Like when to release it. It's kind of like all very up in the air right now. We were supposed to play with Symphony Nova Scotia in October. We were supposed to, which maybe I don't know if I should have said that out loud because it was never announced. But anyway, it's not happening, so it doesn't matter. And I would just be like gigging, playing more shows. Like I sub with the Symphony, or used to when they were like at full capacity and stuff like that. Yeah, just playing more music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Hillsburn has been putting out, like you guys have been putting out videos and things.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been fun. And actually, like I have been learning how to like edit videos and stuff, which is a new skill. So like, that's great. That's a good thing to come out of it. Like learning how to use all those programs and stuff. So that's nice.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I found I've gotten a bit better at recording, and like this wouldn't be happening right now this way anyway. I never knew how to do like distance interviews before. Mm-hmm. Somebody approached me last year about doing one. I was like, I don't know how to do that. I've only ever done them in person.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about doing the internet thing is I can talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's wicked. You could just call anyone up and be like, interview.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny. And like, so some cool things have come out of it, but it is also like, it's funny. I feel like it's a weird season. Season 1 was all Halifax people, except at the end where I like went on a trip and interviewed some people. No, that's not true. There was like some PEI guys too. Season 2 was like mostly St. John people because that's where I was, and then this one has been all over the map. And it started like actually as a quarantine, like Saturday nights I'm going to do like an internet TV show. And I did 3 episodes, and I was like, gonna put a thing, gonna commit every Saturday night. And then after 3 weeks, it was like, it's getting warm, and you don't have to be as locked down. It's like, taking that off the website.
Priorities change.
Yeah, well, because it also is like, I don't have to do it, but also it's like, who's gonna sit around and watch it if they don't have to? If they're not stuck indoors.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe people would. Maybe that's a cop-out. All right. So let's backtrack a bit. So you started playing drums Grade 6, would you say? Age like 11?
Yeah, is that how old you are
Ish.
when you're in grade 6? Yeah,
I think
sounds
so.
right.
I think I was
Yeah.
12 in grade 7. Uh-huh. And that would be like, I mean, I know classical is maybe a stretch at that age, but you'd be playing like concert percussion kind of things.
Yeah, like you get a little snare drum, right? Like that's what you carry around. Everyone's got their trumpet and clarinet, and you have a little snare drum in a bag.
You got a
Yeah.
snare drum in a bag. We didn't.
Oh.
We had a band room, which was cool. My junior high was a little bit weird in that it was 3 buildings, and the music room was in the like kind of, I don't want to call it like the forgotten building, but it seemed like there was an upstairs floor that nobody used, and then a downstairs floor where like the music classes were and the industrial arts classes were. Then the gym was its own building too, but all the gear was there. I don't think I owned sticks till high school.
Nice. I think I had that little snare drum for just grade 6, and then when I went into junior high, you just used the gear that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think there was an actual band room in my elementary. I think we went up to the junior high to do band. I can't remember now, though.
Oh, neat. But you started it in elementary.
In elementary in grade 6, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I find that so funny, like the little snare drum.
Yeah.
Did you were you into it?
Yeah, I was into it. I would like set up my little snare drum in my like parents' house and just like wail on it. Yeah. And like that, like I didn't know what I was doing, but like I would just like play on it and just be like, this is what I do now. This is me. I play the drums now. Yeah.
And were they into it? Because like a snare drum is quite loud, right?
Yeah, my parents, I am extremely lucky. I've won the parent lottery. They're always quite supportive. So I'm sure that like I wasn't always allowed to play it, but they loved that I was into it. Yeah. Because I did like violin like earlier in elementary in like grade 3 and hated it. Like would go to the concerts and like not play and just like go like this, like with the bow, just like pretend to play. And my dad tells this story where he's like, yeah, we said that you could quit violin in the spring. I think it was grade 5. Like you start in grade 3. So I think I did it for 2 years. And like the first day of spring, I was like, I'm done violin. You said spring I could quit, like I'm done. Like my dad was talking like at the end of the school year and I was just like, first day of spring, I'm done. Yeah, no more violin.
You said spring.
Yeah.
Violin is over.
Exactly.
Did you hate the instrument or is it because it's hard to play?
It's because it's hard to play. And honestly, I wish I could play it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually rented a cello during quarantine, like when you really couldn't do anything, and rented a cello, played it a few times. It was fun, but like also very hard. I was like, I wish I had learned, like I maintained those skills that I learned, like, but you don't. That's not how your brain works, but.
Yeah. Well, this is what I found because I have like my wife's side of the family, they're like country music people. So like there will be just like a banjo or a fiddle lying around if I go over their house and I'll pick one up and like try to play it. And it's like, I just sound awful.
Yeah. It's not, it's very unforgiving when you're learning, right? It's like the sounds that you make that come out of it. You're like, this is not fun.
Yeah, right. Like it's screechy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, and like awkward sounding, and yeah, you've got to really be able to see through that. Okay, funny. Yeah, I had a similar experience with hockey. I'm just adjusting my levels here. No, it wasn't exactly the same. I like played hockey because that's what you're supposed to do, and all my friends were into it, and they told me that's what I was supposed to be into. And I got in trouble at school just for not doing my homework. And my parents were like, if you keep this up, no more hockey. And I just said, okay. Yeah. And they're like, really?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to cart you around and buy you gear and blah, blah, blah. That was the end of that. So it came in a bag. Did it have a stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a full kit. It was a kit.
It was a kit. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a drum kit, but it was a snare drum kit.
Yeah.
Do you remember what brand it was?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. And the kids now, like I've done a couple, like taught a couple like grade 6 band introduction, like first day of band things.
Yeah.
And they now get a snare drum and a glockenspiel.
Whoa.
Things are really coming up in the elementary band program.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did you play the glockenspiel at that age? I like to say
No.
spiel. I always say spiel, like probably an ignoramus.
I don't know. I think it's a personal preference. I pretend to pronounce things oddly. No, I didn't. I didn't start playing mallets and stuff like that until grade 12, when my band teacher was like, "What are you going to do in university?" And I was going to do science because I was also super into science. And he was like, "You know, you can do music in university, right?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?" He was like, "You should consider it." And so then in grade 12, I considered it. So I had to like come up with an audition to get into music school. So like I played it like in high school band, but I never wanted to play that kind of stuff. I always wanted to like play like the snare drum or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
Those are the coveted parts. We had the same thing. And, unfortunately or whatever, it was always like, there was like probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 drummers maybe in high school, certainly in the concert band. And all of those parts went to like the one girl who had taken piano lessons as a kid because she could read it and nobody else could.
Yeah.
And all the dudes were like, I'm playing snare drum, or like if there's a drum kit part, it's like snare drum or timpani, and then everything else is like, eh.
Yeah.
And then that was the avoid at all costs.
Yeah. Which is really too bad because once I started playing it, I really did enjoy it. But like, I think it was also kind of an assumed thing. There was that thing where it's like, oh, well, Claire will play the mallet parts. And I'd be like, no, I'm not going to play the mallet parts. I hate reading music. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I'd be like, no, you're going to play it. Sorry.
Good for you.
I'll play the snare drum. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's funny too. Like Krista, my old classmate, like she went on to, she studied at UPI, maybe somewhere else too, but she was like a mallet soloist with the UPI Wind Symphony, and is now, I don't know if she still is, but she was the music teacher at my old high school. So cool. She really she rocked it, but it definitely was like a power kind of thing. She was like also younger.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, whoever's like the top dog like grabs those parts first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's right. She would have been a year younger than me when I was in grade 11, like playing with the like grade 12 kids. So it's like, yeah, like you can read this stuff, you're doing it. That sucks. I felt bad about it in retrospect, but here we are. Life's not fair. So I don't know if we need to go into. It's funny. I have a lot of memories of certainly being that age. Definitely, like for me in junior high, it was a big thing because I didn't know what else to do with myself. So like any opportunity to, especially at lunchtime, like play. I tried intramural sports and that didn't really stick. So, but there's like you could play in bands at lunchtime. So I did that. But was it a situation like? Were there a lot of different groups you could be involved? Like how big a part of your life was it at that time?
In junior high, I think it was just band. Mm-hmm. But then in high school, there was like the all city stuff. So yeah, right. I did like jazz band and like the school symphony orchestra too. So in high school, it was like a pretty big, I was a band nerd for sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't all of my extracurriculars. I played sports too. Like I played hockey and soccer and stuff, but I was always doing some sort of band thing. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
So interesting. So when you're like growing up and doing all this stuff, were you playing in bands also?
Yeah, I had a band that I played in high school. Started off, we were called Eddie Valentine.
Nice. Why that name?
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, and we played like the school coffee houses and stuff. And then we changed into the Still Frames, I think was the name after that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I played in bands.
Cool.
Yeah.
Always a drummer?
Always the drummer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did the band always practice at your house for that reason?
No, actually, my friend, we rarely practiced at my house, but now Hillsburn practices at my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody goes where the drum kit is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I used to, they had a drum kit. My bandmates had a drum kit at their house, so it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And so was music at that time, would you say it was like, I mean, you said you were into science, you're into sports and things too, which is funny because it's like I enjoy sports now, but I don't follow them, and I've found out like I have ADHD and I don't, so like stats and things, they just bounce right off my head.
Oh yeah,
and like
same.
Science, I had a similarly tough time with and I actually wish that I would have done physics because I think it's the one I would have used, but I took biology and chemistry in high school, and like my friends were in my biology class, so I enjoyed that about it. But I found both of them so tough because there's so much memorization involved, or just for me anyway. That was the thing that I really had a tough time with. Whereas like a music class, like I didn't have to pay attention most of the time because the other thing we were playing the drums, you're in the back of the room. Mm-hmm. And there's like, if the teacher or conductor, if you like, is like working with the people in the front, you just kind of do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, as long as I can get through my parts, I don't even need to be able to read that well because I couldn't. As long as I can kind of play it well enough. So yeah, part of it I think for myself was certainly about like getting out of something that more closely resembles schoolwork. But I don't know. But I'm always interested in like how people kind of decide to like really dive into it. Like even so, let's say Eddie Valentine / Still Frames,
The Still Frames.
The Still Frames.
Yeah.
Are they all still playing music?
No. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they still play music for sure. And I think Tony was producing. I'm not sure if he's still producing now or not. And then my friend teaches music. Yes. One of the other members teaches music. So I'm sure music is still fully in their lives. I don't talk to two of them. And like we've just lost touch. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think back to my old bands and well, surprisingly, actually, like my very first band, I think everybody still plays in some capacity. But I know like some of my other bands that I've attempted, or like people will like own a guitar or whatever, but like they were nowhere near as obsessed as I was, or like as maybe just like one track minded about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Halifax, would you say that, because you talk about like the all city band and stuff, I'm from PEI, so we would have like, I remember there was honors band, and that was a thing that you could do that was like people from across the island. But growing up in Summerside, there was only one high school, or I'm not from Summerside, I'm from the country, but so that type of thing didn't really exist, except when you would go to Charlottetown once or twice a year, or there was like it's like you go to Halifax and play,
right?
The thing at Mount St. Vincent.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever that thing was called, I've done that many times.
Yeah. But was that a big? Because I also didn't like. I was aware of the trope of like a band geek, but I didn't really feel like that was the vibe. Where I grew up, and maybe there definitely were nerds in the band, but I didn't feel like
right.
being in the band made you a nerd, you know?
No, I don't think that that's the case at all. But
Yeah.
I was very into being in band.
Right.
Like, so not everyone that took band in high school did all these other programs, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, yeah, I'm in band. Yeah, I'm in the jazz band. Yeah, I'm in the orchestra, like the all city stuff. So it was like other schools, you would have rehearsal like in the evening and everyone from other schools would come in.
Yeah.
And like half of the people in my high school band, probably more than half, didn't do that. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
sure,
where, yeah. When I say music nerd, I just was like into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I can relate. I would share that, and I would have done that because I was similar. It's like any chance I got just to play. The other thing is, like, when did you get your first drum kit?
Yeah, I was trying to remember that. My parents got me a drum kit, I think when I was in junior high. Of old Westbury, like they got it secondhand. Someone was selling it. Like I'm pretty sure they found an ad in the newspaper because that's how you used to sell things.
Yep.
They bought it for like maybe like $200. I died with happiness. Like it was the best.
That's amazing, and that's
thing
like
ever.
That's how you're supposed to start, I think.
Yeah. And I played on that until I saved up enough money to buy like a next level drum kit. Yeah.
And what was it?
It was a tie.
Oh, nice.
Tour Pro. Is that still a company? I don't even know.
I don't think it is.
So.
I was wondering that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I went with. I just like was like, yeah, I want a drum kit. Didn't know anything about. Like, I'm not really a gear nerd. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I went with.
Yeah, I find I'm not a gear nerd with drums. I like guitar pedals and things. Although I'm not like, one of these people who like is really into like, ooh, have you seen the new fuzz from like Earthquaker or whatever?
Right.
Which
I know these words that you're saying, they mean nothing to me, but Jackson and Clayton love pedals.
Oh,
so
man.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I find with drums, it's like, would I love to have a bunch of like cool like vintage drum kits or different sizes or like weird drums or whatever? Sure. But I also am someone who thinks it's like, as long as I know how to make it sound decent, I can get away with anything.
Exactly. It's like a little bit different, right? Like compared to some other gear things. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I know it's like, it is a thing that I find, and it's even a reason like within the world of drumming why I am like kind of sometimes like you feel like reluctant or like a fraud or something, because it's like you pick up like a modern drum or something, people are talking about like bearing edges and like 16 ply maple shells.
Totally. And you're like, I don't know what that means. Like, like you try and like avoid it in conversation. People always like, some people will come up to me after shows and be like, what are you playing on? What do you got there? And I'm like, go ahead, look at it. Like I don't know. It sounded nice. That's why I bought it.
Yeah.
I like the sound of it.
Are you still playing the Thai drums?
No, I have another drum kit. It's a company from the States, so it all nests into each other. I bought it because we were touring a lot. Cool. And there was 5 of us, and it's hard to get all of the stuff that you need in one vehicle. So I got this cool kit, and it sounds great too. But yeah. Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I have my drum kit now is like, it's like a jazz kit, I guess. It's like a small, like 18-inch bass drum, but I didn't own drums because I was like, I had a set that my parents had got me, and I kind of felt weird about that anyway, because I was like, after I finished university, they like wanted to buy me a nicer set of drums because I didn't own drums until high school, and my uncle gave me his, and so they're those old Tamas, and that's what I played forever. And then it was really nice of them to do, but they bought me a set of drums, and they were cool. They were really big. They were Pacific, which is like DW's like Squire brand or whatever. 22-inch bass drum, but the tom mounted to the cymbal stand, the floor tom.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's
Not a fan of that.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Adam had bought these like really, for us, expensive Gretsch drums, and then he was like locked into a payment plan that he couldn't get out of. He was like, he bought them, and then he was like, I don't know if I still want these. They're kind of pricey. I want something cheaper. And then he had put like $1,000 down on them or something, and then he went to the store and was like, can I like trade these in for this other thing? And they're like, we will let you out of the payment plan if you return the drums, but you can't have your money back. It's like, all right, I'm keeping them.
Yeah.
So anyway, then my bandmates convinced me they knew a guy who like wanted to buy a set of drums, and my roommate was selling a guitar amp, and they're like, we already have this drum set, but we don't own like a loud guitar amp, so you should sell your drums and buy your roommate's amp. James O'Toole, who now plays in Out of Controller. So for a while, I didn't own drums because I could rehearse on Adam's drums. If we were like touring, we could take those. Most of the time, like gigging, sharing bills with people, I wasn't using my own drums anyway. I was teaching, but I just used the ones at work. We could practice there. We were rehearsing at the Rock Garden. Like, who cares? I didn't really need them. But then when we moved to St. John, I was like, I'm a drummer without a drum set. So,
Right.
Yeah, so I bought this set for $500, like that were just at Long and McQuaid and Summerside. And they're small and they're portable and they're great. The hardware kind of sucks. Like, I have had them like fall apart on stage, but
Oh no.
Fall apart is like more like the legs on the bass drum will just like collapse.
Right. Yeah.
Which is not good. I should probably just replace them or something, but I don't know. It's good enough.
It works. It works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a drum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you studied music in university?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to Dow. I did a double major in chemistry and music.
Whoa.
Because I'm a big old nerd.
Intense.
Yeah.
Because I would think that, I mean, you know, I haven't studied science past probably grade 12, but I think that they would both be fairly demanding.
Yeah, it was a lot. I did it in 5 years. So I spread out my last year basically over 2 years. It was kind of funny because it was a lot, but also kind of there was this like wormhole hole where I kind of got out of taking some really hard classes in both of them too, because like I didn't have to do the full program. So it was like I didn't have to take theory like 2 or 3, and I didn't have to take the like upper history, music history courses, and I didn't do like a practicum in or whatever it is that you do in chemistry, which turned out like when I graduated, I was trying to find a job, as one does when they graduate university, in chemistry. And because it was like I was stuck in this cycle because I didn't do the full chemistry program. I didn't have enough experience to get a job, and so I was kind of just like, I would get into the interview process and get like so close, and they'd be like, oh, but you don't have this, and then I like wouldn't get the job. So
and what kind of jobs would you be applying for with a chemistry degree?
I was applying in like labs, just but that didn't really last that long. As like once I think it happened like 3 or 4 times where I would get an interview and just like not get the job. I actually applied at a place and they made cymbal cleaner, which was really funny.
Really?
That part of what they made was cymbal cleaner. The
Where,
guy gave me a bottle
in Halifax?
In Dartmouth. It was in Burnside.
Huh.
Yeah. Didn't get the job, but got a free bottle of cymbal cleaner, so that was nice.
One free bottle,
which I've never used.
I was gonna ask you. I bought a bottle of like Groove Juice years ago, and I think I used it on 1 or 2 cymbals. But then I like started hearing from people. It's like, yeah, you don't want to clean your cymbals. You want to like. I heard stories about old jazz drummers like taking their cymbals and burying them in the backyard
to get a certain sound out of them. Yeah. I think I don't know. Like I'm like, yeah, I don't want to walk. Like there's dirt on them and they sound the way they do. Like I don't want to take it off. Not that I know if that would affect the sound or not, but it feels like it would.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Where 'cause I don't know either, and I think it's like if you were somebody who like had a bunch of shiny cymbals, which I don't.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. So I'm not knocking it, but I know like there are certain people who like they like taking care of their equipment, and I also think like the shiny cymbals, like I could see polishing those. You know, want fingerprints on them or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, not my vibe. Okay. So when did Hillsburn start?
Hillsburn started. They were a 4-piece, like with no drummer. I don't know what year that was. Time is a interesting thing. I think maybe 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And so I graduated Dal, didn't get jobs, and then I went to Humber.
Did you?
Yeah, for 4 months.
Why only 4 months?
I hated it.
Why did you hate Humber?
Yeah, I wanted to go there because Dal is a classical program.
Yeah.
So when I started Dal, I stopped playing drum kit. Basically, like my band that I was in high school, we played for a couple of years, like maybe into my second year university. But then we just stopped being a band because you go to university and other things happen and whatever. So I was mostly just playing classical percussion and not really playing drum kit anymore. And then in my fourth year, I started playing in the jazz band again.
Yeah.
Like in university and realized like I really do enjoy playing drum kit but was like a little bit rusty at it. And my friend Katie, who's like an incredible saxophone player, her prof went to Humber. And so he was like, if you want to keep learning and like want to, like she wasn't super into the classical thing either. So she was like, I'm going to try and go to Humber. And I was like, that's a cool idea. Maybe I'll try and do that because like chemistry is clearly not working out for me.
Right.
And like, I do love playing drum kit. So it would be cool to go to school specifically for drum kit. Right. Like, because you don't get that at Dow.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue. Sorry.
And then I got there and there was 21 drummers in my first year class, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we were all learning the same thing. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Cause like, I can't play what that guy's playing. That guy can't play what I'm playing. Why are we all learning the same thing? I don't like Toronto. I didn't like living in Toronto. It was just like, I was like, why am I doing this? It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I loved my private teacher. So you got like an hour lesson once a week with one teacher who would like, so he was teaching me things like individual to me, but I was like, I'm paying so much money for 1 hour lessons a week.
Basically that's what you're getting out of it.
Yeah. And and like I had a master class and the guy that ran the master class was really awesome and really great, but it was like the same thing. It was just like so much money and I just wasn't enjoying it. And I just like, it took me a really long time to decide. Like I would call my mom and I would be like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. And like, she knew that it wasn't, but she like had to let me make that decision on my own, which for me, not good at making decisions. And yeah, I like hemmed and hawed. And then like second semester, I went to like a week of classes and I was like, no, I'm going. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, I mean, good for you for making the call too. And it is the thing, right? Of the supportive parents. Cause also it's like, you don't want to, or I mean, you know, I think you shouldn't want to discourage your child. But it also is, I think, like studying music in general must be scary for a parent.
Right.
But it's funny in your case where chemistry would seem like more the safe career.
Right. No.
But I know, like, I certainly ran into that where, you know, Yeah, my folks were like not going to tell me not to do it. But I also hit a point where it's like I knew that I wasn't really, I went to St. Halifax, I wasn't really interested in, it's not that I wasn't interested in jazz, but it wasn't my favorite kind of music. I wasn't,
Right.
I didn't have the intention of making it my favorite kind of music, but it was like you could play drum set there as opposed to classical. And that was really it. And it was like, I don't know, all my friends are going to university. I'm not going to stick around here. So I decided, I did know, I had known people the year before who went on to do music in university. So I knew that it was an option. But it was like I knew people who had gone to UPEI and Acadia. And of the places I looked at, my high school teacher was like, you don't want to go to Acadia. And UPEI, I like too many people from my high school were going there. And also my parents wanted me to live at home and travel with my dad who worked there because I would save a lot of money. But it's like I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My parents live in the country, an hour outside of Charlottetown. It's like I'm not going to do that after graduating high school. I want to get out on my own and like hang out with my friends or whatever. So that really wasn't happening. The drum prof at UPI at the time also was the Mount A guy. And so he is like, I'm at UPI 4 days a week, Mount A 1 day a week. If you're going to go to one of the two, you should come here if you're a drummer. So that kind of decision was made. And then St. Effects kind of popped up and it seemed like the right thing at the time in terms of like being the closest thing to what I wanted to do. But I definitely remember like hitting points. Like I had a prof ask me one day, is like, so are you sure this is what you want to do? And now thinking about it, it's like I had multiple ones and it was like, well, no, but like I want to like stay here and continue partying with my friends.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And like this being in this program is my way of doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, mixed feelings about that for sure. Okay. So that's good. You pulled the plug on that. Booted it back to the East Coast. Within a year, you're playing in a band.
I'm not. Don't fact check me on this timeline because it could be way off. But yeah, something like that.
Well, it could be probably not way off though. It's like it wouldn't be 5 years.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. And so then I moved home. And Hillsburn was a band at this point. And I had seen them play, like was friends with Jackson and Rosanna because we went to university together. They also went to Dow. Yeah. And was like, I was like a Hillsburn fan, like went to all their shows, like saw their first show at Plan B, just like the 4 of them. And then after a while, Jackson, they recorded their first full-length album and they kind of put some percussion on it, like stomps and claps and stuff. And then they were thinking about how they were going to do that live. And then Jackson sat me down. We had coffee and he was like, we're thinking of maybe adding drums. Like, would you want to play in the band? And at this point, I was like, couldn't find a chemistry job, dropped out of Humber, was like, just got home, didn't know what I was doing with my life. I had auditioned for the symphony because my teacher thought that would be a good way for me to still be getting gigs. So I was kind of doing that, but that's very like when they need someone, they'll call you. Like it's not regular at all. So I was just like, didn't know what I was doing. And then I was like, Jackson, yes, 100%. Just tell me when. But then it was like probably like 6 months after that I actually started playing with them.
Oh, really? Because they had they had made their album without a drummer and they had like a certain booking. Would they have been like, what would they have been? Were they like DIYing it at that time or did they?
They were with Groundswell at that time.
Yeah, because I thought they seemed to like because I think that band in 2014, that makes sense because I lived in St. John from 2013 to 2016, then was back in Halifax for 2 years, and now I'm back here. But that would have been the time that I was away because I remember I hadn't heard of the band. Somebody showed me some video, and that's how I'd heard of Hillsburn. They're like, this is what's going on in Halifax now.
Right.
But they seemed to be out of the gate like they really knew what they were doing.
Yeah. They did like the first EP all on their own. Mm-hmm. And then, so I don't really know all the details that happened, but when I joined the band, they were with Groundswell, but then right after I joined the band, we basically were like, we don't want to work with them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started doing stuff on our own.
Yep.
Again after that.
And what kind of shows would you have been playing at that time?
The first show I played with them was a Christmas show that like one of the radio stations was putting on at the casino. That was the first thing I did with them.
Was that cool or weird?
It was cool.
Yeah.
There was it was like us and a bunch of other bands, like Port Cities and like Rainey Smith were there. So yeah, it was cool.
Cool.
And then I think the second thing I did with them was the CBC East Coast Music Hour. Like we recorded that, and that was like the second gig I played with them.
Nice.
I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's not a bad situation to walk into. Okay, you say you recorded it. Where did you go into the studio and record? How does that work?
Yeah. The CBC, like down by the mall, wherever that studio is. Mm-hmm. We just went in there and there was like a in-studio audience. We played for the audience and they recorded it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in there. Is that Studio H?
I have no idea.
Okay, I know that CBC Studio H in Halifax is like something, but
yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah. I didn't know that place existed, actually. Now that you mention it, I came up to Halifax maybe 2 summers ago and was just like killing time wandering around down there. And then I got to the end of the hall. They've got this giant grand piano in the entryway, right? Is that the place? It was like Glenn Gould's piano or something?
I don't know.
There's this place and it's at like the CBC logo and there's this grand piano just sitting there and there's just like a security desk and I had no business really being in there, so I talked to the guy. The security guy was a musician, actually. He's a rapper. No, I can't remember his name, but he showed me his new video. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, and then what happened?
Then we went to Kansas City for Folk Alliance, and then we went on tour. I don't really remember.
And would you have been like, was the band self-managed at that time?
No, it took us a bit to get out of Groundswell.
Mm-hmm.
And so our current manager, Nigel, was working with us and we kind of just like went with him when we left Groundswell. So I've always worked with Nigel as our manager. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a good dude. I don't know him. I only know him on the internet. I've never met him, but he strikes me as a good dude.
He's a very good dude. Yeah. He's really awesome. Yeah.
Cool. So how long have you been with the band at this point?
Now, currently. Yeah. It's a great question. 5 years?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
2015 till now? Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. 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 5 years. Cool. And you said you guys have done a new album.
Mm-hmm.
That you recorded in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you record with?
Howard Redekop.
Who's that?
He's a producer. He produced like a few Tegan and Sarah albums. Cool. Mother, New Pornographers. Yeah, he was really awesome to work with.
Right on. Why did you choose him?
He messaged us right around the time when we had just put out The Wilder Beyond. He messaged us and said he liked our stuff and he's looking for artists to work with. So then when we started the album process again for this new album, we did The Wilder Beyond on our own. Like, no producing, like we did it all on our own. And it was a hard process. And so we were kind of like, I think this time we should try and get someone to help us.
When you say it was hard, why is that?
Well, I mean, when you're self-producing something and like Paul was doing like all of like the engineering and everything, like he was putting so much work into it, and then it's like you're having discussions, the five of you, trying to figure out like what this should sound like. Should we do this here? Should we do this here? And there's no one to just be like, okay, guys, shut up for a sec. Like, do this. You know what I mean? Like we're very particular people, and you know, sometimes we have strong opinions. And so it's like it's better if there's someone to be like, okay, well, I appreciate all of what you're saying, but what if we tried this? And then you're like, it's like just like a voice of reason kind of. Yeah
That's what we found also working with a manager, because like we were with Glory we were a DIY thing forever, and when we finally got a manager, it also was like the kind of infighting like we'd be talking about. It's like, well, whose job? I'm doing all this work, like you never do anything. You know, like all of the non-music jobs that need to be split up. It really was nice to have somebody managing it, and also be the person who's like, okay, did you do this? That's not like your friend who's also your bandmate.
Right. Yeah.
Because it can really put a strain on things. I know, like, we lived together one year, which was like, I think musically good for us, but like for our personal relationships, it was awful.
Right. Yeah.
And just for that reason, because it's like, you know, you don't want to be upset with, because everything just bleeds into everything. But it's like, you know, it's like, you never clean up the kitchen when you're done.
Right. Yeah. You wouldn't want to have that on top of like, did you research that thing? Did you get that deadline done? Like, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I definitely found that, it is definitely valuable to have somebody in there. And also I think for musical decisions too, maybe, your experience might be different, but I think also as a producer, then it also comes from a neutral place. It's not like, well, this person gets to have all of their ideas on the record.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As much as you like to tell yourself that you don't think that way, and like we're very good about communicating and like not getting in, like now since we've known each other for so long. But yeah, it just makes it a little easier. I found anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then also that person can be the bad guy if that's needed.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you're like, well, yeah, you all like team up. You're like, no. Yeah. Funny.
So Hillsburn is a band from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Are all the members from Halifax?
The Burls are from from Upper Musquodoboit, technically, but yeah, we all live in Halifax now. Yeah.
Yep. And in it for the long haul as Haligonians?
As far as I know, you know, we like it here. I don't like Toronto. I'm sorry to anyone that offends, but it's not my cup of tea. I don't want to live there.
And like why not? What's wrong with Toronto?
I just am at this point, I'm almost like Halifax is too big. Like I just am I like small things. I don't like the big hustle and bustle type thing. It's not my jam. Yeah.
Totally legit. Well, Halifax it feels like it's grown a lot even in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go through downtown, there's like new buildings, big buildings. Certainly the Nova Center has really changed the vibe down there. Yeah. There's not unlike a Toronto kind of feel to some of what's sprung up down there. But it's interesting. I always found like going to Toronto when we would go there on tour, it would only ever be for a couple of days at a time. And I had friends who would like move there and then leave and then be like, oh, that place. And they'd like complain about how much they hated it. And I would go there for like 2 days. I'd be like, what are they talking about? This place is great. But we spent a week there one year, and then I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Toronto is great in small doses. Toronto is great. I love going to Toronto for a night or two. Great, love it. then I'm done. Then I'm out. I'm like, great, that was perfect. See you in 6 months. Like, thank you.
Yep. Takes so long to get anywhere.
Yeah. Ugh.
And the thing that I found frustrating too is like you go for a festival, and I remember being like, whoa, Parliament's playing tonight. They're on the waterfront in an hour, and then like looking at like transit or whatever, how it's like, we're not going to be able to make it.
Yeah, you're not getting there.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's a bummer. And yeah, and of course now it's like it's becoming more and more expensive, as I understand it. But so do you have any? I mean, I guess it sounds to me like you wouldn't trade it, but do you have any concerns about like what are we missing out on by, staying on the East Coast? Or is it more like this is our life, this is what we do? Especially, and this is the other thing that like the pandemic has really brought to light, but certainly for me, growing up on the East Coast, especially when I did in the 90s, it always seemed like, yeah, it's totally possible to have a career in music. And then, with our band, we didn't do ourselves any favors by like playing weird music and not really addressing the part and like not knowing how to market ourselves and like actively not wanting to do those things.
Right.
But it just seemed like, we also always kind of thought we would hit a point where it's like, well, you got to make the jump, move to the big city.
Right.
And even, talking to people from different places, industry people, the question we would often get is like, how easily can you get to Toronto? Or,
right.
So it seems like that is the center, but like right now I'm quite happy to be in St. John. I don't wish I was in Toronto whatsoever. And I mean, it's expensive to live there now. I have friends who moved here from there. They're from the East Coast, but they're like, it was just too, they said it like, not only was it too expensive, but like venues and art spaces, the places that they liked started shutting down because they just got priced out. They couldn't afford to operate.
I've never thought of what are we missing out on. That's never been a consideration.
You know what? Like I went to, so a couple of years ago, I went to like a music industry conference in LA, and it was like after our band broke up, and I was like, just kind of did it. I applied, I got a grant to cover my fees, and I had never been there. And it's not expensive to fly to LA, which I was really surprised by, because I figured, well, the fly to Vancouver is like $1,000 or more. Probably more because that's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So to fly to California must be more expensive, but no, it's $500 from Halifax anytime you want to go. I mean, we took the red eye, but it was not that expensive, so we just went. But I was talking to the guy who's like putting it on, and I was like, yeah, so my band broke up. I've been kind of like gigging around. I'm not really sure what to do next. And he's like, well, why Halifax? Is there a music scene there? It's like, I had never in my life considered that before. It's like, what? Well, it's because I'm from PEI. I'm from like, like, that's where you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the scene is.
Yeah, I'm just from here. I just came back here after Toronto. It's just where I am. I don't know. I've never thought about it in like music industry terms, I guess.
Well, because it was the big thing, right? Like, and I think too, probably it's for me, it's like when I grew up, but like certainly like Sloan were a big deal.
Right. Yeah,
then
totally.
They moved to Toronto, and like you and Joel Plaskett's got that song, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or he's got a few of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
About why he has stuck around, but it certainly has been yeah, it's a thing that I questioned as I've got, and it really has been like for as many problems as COVID has caused, it has been the real thing. Like up until that happened, I did find myself wondering, because especially it's like I'm not even in Halifax, I'm in St. John. Like what am I doing here? But it's like, I mean, I'm working, I'm playing, things are good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like my family's here, all my friends are here.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'd be great to live somewhere else. But I don't know. I just never really thought about it in like a music, like if we moved, would that be helpful for us and our music? We've never really considered that, I guess.
Yeah.
We're all pretty happy in Halifax, like outside of the band, like our individual lives, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So,
well, that's good. I mean, it's good. And I think it's positive that you have never had to consider, like, it's never come up in terms of like, how do we fix this?
right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, we got to move. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's never happened, which is great.
I guess twofold question. So outside of the band, do you have other projects? I know you've been playing with Wants recently, which is with my former bandmate Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, playing with Wants is great. Adam's awesome. That's and like it's something completely different than Hillsburn too, which is really great. I mean, there's not a lot going on now because of COVID, but I've done some recording with some people. Have like a recording gig coming up. I like Hillsburn is like definitely my main focus, but I really am down to play music whenever, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it's great. Like people will ask me to do some things. So like normally I would be playing with the symphony too, like subbing with the symphony. I'm always up for other projects. It just depends on whether they're happening and what's going on.
Yeah, and like having time too. I know I find I have a habit of like taking things on and not thinking about the other things that I'm doing, and then they all end up happening at the same time.
And something I'm getting better at in my age, but like I will, because I would just be so excited to do anything. Someone would ask me, I'm like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm there. And then you think about it and you're like, I don't have time for all of this. And like, yeah.
But yeah. And also it's like, okay, I get paid $50. This is going to be 15 hours work probably.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. You're like, okay, yeah, totally. I'll do that gig. $100 sounds great. And then you're like, oh, the amount of work I have to put into that, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it was about that, none of us would be doing what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So what's next for Hillsburn?
We're playing a show in Berwick in a couple weeks, and just trying to figure out, how to release an album with everything that's going on. We're kind of just taking it slow with like, it's like a funny feeling because like we really want to like be like, hey, we made this, look at what we did.
Yeah,
like it's so good, but there are things to think about, and so we'll probably keep doing some videos on the internets, just playing it day by day. Global pandemic, that's can't do a lot more than that really right now.
Classic tale. No, you really can't. Well, the thing about the record too is like, it also is. I mean, I found that the solution for me. I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm getting at is like, it also is like, I made it now. I'm excited about it now. Am I still going to care about it in a year when it's like a more sensible time to release it?
Mm-hmm. I think we will.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my own solution has been to just like put it in a closet and forget about it until it's like, it's okay, that's done, it's good. I gotta not think about it for now.
Right.
I mean, maybe you don't know, but what is the situation? Where are things heading gig-wise in Nova Scotia?
Well, we played a few gigs at the Carlton. Like we did 2 nights there, and I played with Wants around the same time. So it's happening, but now again, like cases are rising again. We're in the second wave, as the Dr. Strang would say. So it's hard to say, and that's it. Like I think if everything goes the way we want it to go, we'll be able to do like maybe a little Atlantic bubble tour at sometime in the spring, maybe. But who knows?
Right.
There's no way to know. There are no guarantees in this life. So.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all just waiting to find out.
We're all just waiting. Yeah. It's wild.
All just waiting to die, man. No, that's not true, is it?
No.
You get it though. Hillsburn's got some happy songs about death. Happy sounding songs.
Happy sounding songs about death. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
Hillsburn. Everything Hillsburn is Instagram's Hillsburn Band on Twitter. I think we have Hillsburn.com. Me personally, Clare M on Instagram. I'm not online all that much, but yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I try to avoid it, and then I feel like guilty about it.
Yeah, I'm there. You can find me, Clare M. That's normally my. Yeah. Everyone always makes fun of my Instagram handle. I don't know why. Clare M.
What does the P stand for?
Patricia.
Oh, nice.
It's my first name.
Yeah, your middle name.
Yeah.
Or I go by my middle name as well.
Yeah.
My first name is Philip.
There you go.
Yeah.
P.
Yeah. P Ryan B.
There you go.
The other one is, I don't know if you follow Jason Votora on Instagram.
Yeah.
His is it took me forever to figure out what it was, because it's Javo Land.
Yes.
I'm always like, who's JV Oland?
Right. I've always read it as Javo Land.
I didn't forever. I was like, because I didn't know who it was. I was like,
right.
Who's this JV Oland that I follow?
I've always just known him as Javo too, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth. All right. Excellent. I'm going to cut it there. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
All right. Good. Weird. I'm hearing my voice coming back on a delay through this thing. I wonder if I can shut it off. I got some new plugins today. This RX7. There we go. Yeah. Isotope Elements Bundle Holiday Package. I'm getting into the plugins. That is a rabbit hole, an expensive one too. If you like what you hear, there's more. You follow, like, share, subscribe. I keep wanting to say friend request. That's not necessary. Hitmakers on your podcast player of choice. LearnDrums.ca for this show notes, past episodes. Show notes may not go up until tomorrow at this point. If you're listening to this on Tuesday, the day it came out. Follow me at Learn Drums on Instagram. Claire just told you. Clare M. Hillsburn everything. Thanks for being here. See you next week. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited. It's been, as I said, quite a curious year for this podcast that was born out of a couple commitments. I had a couple episodes pre-recorded and one that seemed like kind of a long shot. And we started it as a Saturday Night Live TV stream on the internet kind of thing that I'm going to feature that stuff on my Instagram over the next couple of weeks. I've been going back through the season and just thinking everything should be represented up there. Anyhow, thanks for being here. See you in 2 weeks. Plenty more where this came from. This is our 49th episode. They're not all full episodes. There's a couple weird 2 to 10 to 20 minute ones that I don't really count as proper episodes, but I am counting in terms of number of things released. So that's pretty cool. When I started this thing, I said, maybe I could make it to 100 episodes. Now I'm halfway there. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.